Hello friends, my name is Ryan, and today I'm going to tell you a story named The Spirit of the Cursed Lake, where the drowned still lurk, a story that is truly amazing and full of unexpected twists. So, let's begin. There was a village, nestled on the edge of a remote lake. The villagers had always spoken of the lake with reverence, though they never ventured near its murky waters. An old legend whispered that the lake was cursed, that it had swallowed countless lives over the years. The villagers would only speak of it in hushed tones, eyes darting nervously, as if the very mention of it could summon the dark force that lay within. I've always been a curious one, and on a warm summer evening, when the sun dipped behind the mountains and the village was bathed in the last hues of twilight, I found myself wandering near the lake. The air was thick with an eerie silence. The only sound was the faint ripple of water and the occasional rustle of the trees. But as I stood at the water's edge, I felt a chill creep down my spine. Somehow, I knew something was watching me. It was then that I heard a voice, soft, almost like a whisper on the wind. "Leave this place," it said, and I froze in fear. The voice sounded like it came from the depths of the lake itself. But curiosity, as it often does, pushed me forward. I walked along the shoreline, the voice growing fainter but still clear in my mind. I could feel the weight of history in the air, the sorrow and loss of lives taken too soon. The villagers had always said that the lake was a place of death, but no one truly understood why it had claimed so many. It was said that those who drowned here didn't truly die, their spirits remained trapped in the water, forever waiting to pull the next soul into their watery grave. As I walked further, I noticed something strange. The water began to ripple, though there was no breeze. The surface shimmered as though something beneath was moving, pushing against the stillness. I couldn't resist. I waded deeper into the water, the cold biting at my skin. With each step, the water seemed to grow darker, and I felt an overwhelming sense of dread. My heart pounded in my chest. I wanted to turn back, but my legs wouldn't obey. It was as though the lake itself had a hold of me. Suddenly, I heard splashing, loud and frantic. I whipped around, searching for the source of the sound, but saw nothing. The water was now churning, dark shapes moving beneath the surface. Panic gripped me, and I stumbled backwards, my feet slipping on the wet rocks. That's when I saw her. A figure, pale and haunting, rose from the depths of the lake. Her eyes were wide and empty, staring right into my soul. She had the face of a woman, but her features were twisted in an unnatural way, as if the water had reshaped her. Her long, dripping hair hung in front of her face, obscuring her expression. The water around her seemed to boil as she moved closer, her mouth parting as if to speak. I couldn't move. My legs were frozen in place, my body trembling from a fear I couldn't control. "Why have you come?" she whispered, her voice echoing like a distant cry. "Why do you disturb my slumber?" I opened my mouth to speak, but no words came. I could only stare as the figure slowly moved toward me, her hands outstretched. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and I could hear the sound of water lapping at her feet, like the whispers of the drowned calling to me. "You must leave," she repeated, but her voice was growing fainter now. "Leave before it's too late." And then, just as suddenly as she had appeared, the figure sank back into the depths of the lake. The water calmed, and the eerie silence returned. I was left standing there, my heart racing, unsure of what had just happened. I ran back to the village, my breath ragged and my mind reeling. When I reached the village square, I found the elders gathered, talking in hushed tones. I couldn't hold it in any longer and rushed to them, telling them everything I had seen. But instead of the shocked faces I expected, they simply nodded solemnly. "You've seen her," one of the elders said, his voice low and grave. "The spirit of the lake. She was once a woman, just like you and me. But she drowned, and now she is cursed, bound to the waters for all eternity. She will pull others into the lake to join her, so she is not alone." I shuddered, the memory of her ghostly form still fresh in my mind. I had come too close, and I knew I would never forget what I had seen that night. As the days passed, strange things began to happen around the village. People reported hearing voices on the wind, faint cries from the lake in the dead of night. Some claimed they saw shadows moving beneath the water, eyes staring out from the depths. And then, one by one, the villagers started to disappear. Each time, it was someone who had ventured too close to the lake. Some said they were taken by the spirit, others whispered that they had drowned, their bodies lost to the cursed waters. The village grew quiet, its people living in fear of the lake that had claimed so many lives. But one thing was clear, the spirit of the cursed lake was not just a story, not just a legend. She was real, and she was always watching. I left the village soon after, unable to shake the feeling that the lake was still calling to me. Even now, as I sit here, the memory of that night haunts me. The spirit of the cursed lake is still out there, waiting for her next victim. And if you're ever near that lake, if you hear a voice calling your name, I urge you to run, because it might just be too late. Friends, remember, the world is full of mysteries, and some of them are better left unsolved. But if you want more stories that will chill your spine and keep you up at night, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I'll keep bringing you tales you won't forget.